Okay, so we're going to get started here by melting our wax chips. I have a burner on low. This is my dedicated crafting pot. It is only for crafting. I do soap and candles in here. You can very gently and slowly do it in a microwave. Make sure you're not on high power. Go very slow, stir often. You can also do, somebody once showed me that she put hers in a disposable aluminum tray over very, very low heat on her stove so that then she could just throw it away. But you'll see, I just turn the burner on now. It melts down pretty quickly. In the meantime, what I do have here is I have my candle holder, my cup already prepared with the wick. I'll do a little video insert so you can see it's very simple to do. I just hot glued my wick down and made sure it was being held straight. The other thing that I have is you can see these two little bottles. I have my fragrance here ready to go. One of the fragrances is a cafe latte. And then I did a mix of two others. One is called pumpkin souffle, and the other one is called pumpkin spice. And these are perfect for candles because most pumpkin and fall spiced scents are actually not skin safe. And some of it has to do with the strength of the oil, and a lot of it has to do with the cinnamon, which is actually a very common skin irritant. Ask me how I know. It was fun. Alright, so you can see this is starting to melt a little bit. And then I also have, I like to use these disposable paper bowls for my wax. We are going to split this, and what we'll do is we'll pour some into the bowl to keep white. That's going to be the foam color of our latte. And then what we'll do, you can see over here, down here, I have these blocks of brown coloring. So while the wax is still hot, but I will turn the burner off, I'm going to put that in the rest of the scent, and that's going to be our latte. So it's a double layered candle, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to do a double layer. So I'm going to keep on stirring this. I don't want anything to burn. That's really never happened to me before, but it is possible. Now there are two ways to do your fragrance. You can pour your cafe latte and your pumpkin blend fragrances both in here together. They will smell just perfect together. The other thing that you can do, which I think I'm going to try, is in the wax that you're keeping the creamy white color, you can pour the cafe scent, and then in the other side, the brown side, you can pour the pumpkin scent, or vice versa, whichever you'd prefer. That way you have kind of a layered scent effect, and I know we've seen those in stores. And you will definitely be able to tell which is which when you open it up. I'm sniffing them right now. You can definitely smell the spice in the pumpkin spice souffle one. And the coffee one is almost chocolatey. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put, trying to decide which I want to do which with. But see, my wax is melted. There's just one or two pieces. And what I'll do is I'll pour some of it into one bowl, and I'll add one flavoring, one scent, and then I'll pour the majority of it into another bowl, and we'll add the coloring as well. So let's go ahead. I'm going to turn off my burner for now. This is hot enough, and I'm going to go ahead and carefully pour into my bowl some of the wax that I'm going to keep the cream color, the white color. Oh, you know what? Let me move this plastic bag. will float that on top, maybe a little bit more. In the meantime, I am going to pour one of my scents into this bowl. I think I'm gonna pour the pumpkin scent into the foam color. And just stir that up with whatever you got. So what will happen is this will probably set and re-harden because we do need to wait for our other wax to harden before we float the cream color on top. So I have these concentrated wax color cubes. I'm actually gonna cut this down a little bit more. I don't know how concentrated they are. I've never used this particular brand before, so we're gonna experiment a little bit. I'm gonna put a little bit in here. I just warmed it up again a little bit, but I'm gonna put a little bit in here and do a little mixy, mixy, mix and see what we've got. I think that'll be good. Yeah, that's great color already. So I'm just mixing to make sure there are no more of these little streaks. And then I'm going to put my coffee scent in once I pour it into my bowl because I don't want to accidentally scent my pot. So, all right, this has been sitting. You can see it's solid, and it did turn out to be a nice white color. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour this coffee color into my bowl. I think that 1/4 of a cube is enough. I might let it dry first just to see, for the sake of experimenting for everybody who's getting a kit, before I let that go into the candle. So I'm going to pour this out into my bowl. And then I'll see how it dries. I'm gonna mix my scent in right now as well, because even if I do melt it down to add more color, that's okay to do it. Oh, it's back here. Sorry, you can't see. Okay, I'm just gonna mix that in. It does smell like a bakery or a cafe in here. It is amazing. It smells so wonderful. I'm just gonna let this dry. For my purposes, I'm gonna let this dry just so I can see what the color looks like. For you, this is at the point where you would now pour your first layer into your mug. Okay, so I've tested my color. I just kind of dripped some and let it dry. It is more of a terracotta color than brown, but that's the color that they had, so I don't want to add much more color because I don't want it to get too orange. It is kind of like a pumpkin latte kind of orange color, so that's good enough for me. So all I used was just a 1/4 of a cube. So you're going to receive half a cube in your kit. You're just going to cut that and do a 1/4. Actually, go ahead and use that whole piece that I gave you. You're getting a little bit more wax than I used for a fuller candle, so go for it. Okay, so I'll move this out of the way. It's turned off for safety. We're all good. Just gonna move that out of the way. Okay, so we can see. So I'm going to get my pencil. Make sure this is secure. You can also secure this with a little bit of wax too, just to keep it hanging on properly. We're gonna trim this wick anyway, but what you do this for is because we want the wick to be as centered as possible. So see, I want my wick to be as close to the center as possible. I'm eyeballing it. I did not even put it in there as perfectly as I could have. But when your wick is in the center, that means that your candle is going to burn straight down, or as straight down as it can, and that promotes an even burning. If your wick is off to the side, you're going to burn down this way and waste all of the wax over here. So again, as even as possible. All right, so I'm going to pour my little pumpkin-y colored wax into my candle form here. Just as much as I would like. Let's see. I could probably do more wax. I'm gonna do a little bit, ooh, that's blurry. I don't know why that's so blurry. Okay. I'm gonna melt a little bit more and do a little bit more because I had done a test batch that didn't quite work out because of the coloring. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more, but you'll have enough where this will kind of, you'll have extra, and again, we still have this to float on top. So I'm going to do just a little bit more of my terracotta pumpkin color wax, and then I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to let it dry almost entirely. So you know when you blow out your candle and you see that it starts to turn opaque, and it might still be a touch bit soft when we're ready, but then what I'll do is I will gently warm this up again and put it on top. I don't want this to be so soft because then they'll bleed into each other a little bit too much. I don't want that to happen.
She was wrong. Let it dry completely, otherwise you will get some color bleeding. And it takes a little bit of time, but that's okay. Go watch a TV show, go make some tea, enjoy.
It smells so good. But I do want to have some separation in the layers. Okay, so I'm gonna put some more wax in here. I'll be right back when this is, not right back, but I will be back when this dries, and we'll be ready to go with our foam layer. Also, here's just a nice little tip if you're not using something disposable to melt your wax. While it is still liquid and hot, grab some paper towels. You can use like a set of tongs to hold your paper towels and just sop up this wax. Just be careful, it is hot, you know, kind of like hot oil. It's just not fun to get on your skin. So you can just try to sop a lot of it up with paper towels. You can also pour some cold water in there and let it dry and let the wax rise to the top. I like doing the paper towel thing because remember, we just don't want to pour this wax down your sink. So you can pour some water in there and let the wax rise to the top, or you can sop it up with paper towels, and then because this is a soy wax, it's very oily, whatever residue is left, you can then use hot water and some good degreasing dish soap, scrub it out, and that can go down the sink, just that little bit of residue. But I like to use paper towels to sop up whatever wax is kind of hanging down at the bottom there. I have rewarmed my pumpkin white layer in my pot. I'm gonna pour it out into my little bowl again, just because it's easier to pour from the bowl. And I just sort of gently warm this. Didn't get piping hot because I wasn't stirring it for a very long time, right? Okay, so I'm just going to gently pour this in. Now I'm going to have a nice little layer of white foam on top of my candle when it dries. Great, that's it, it's that easy. So it is going to kind of warm up this layer again a little bit. We'll see what happens. But for the most part, it will dry with the nice white layer on top and it will look like a latte. Okay, so here is the finished product. I just realized that when I filmed the video a little while ago that I forgot to show off the finished product. So here it is. You can see right there's a couple of spots where wasn't neat pouring it in, and two, you can kind of see some color bleeding. So I think I put it in the voiceover, but I did say I was pouring this top layer in while it was pretty hot. You could wait for it to cool just a smidge bit. I also gave you some white wax cubes that might help keep it a little whiter, but if you let it cool just a smidge bit and use the white wax cubes, you should have better color separation of your layers. Regardless, it smells amazing. I did trim my wick. Make sure you trim your wick, obviously, of course, before you light your candle. It smells amazing. I haven't even lit it yet, as you can see. It's just been sitting in my office and it smells so good. It kind of smells like a coffee shop in my office at all times. It's amazing. It's very strongly scented and I love it. I hope that you do as well. All right, so that's our craft for this month, and I hope you'll join me again for another craft very soon. All right, everyone. Bye.